Hey everyone, this is Daniel Lee on Melee Science. And one question I want to talk about is Falco in the top level metagame, and why he doesn't appear very often. Now on tier lists, he ranges from number 2 to number 5. In fact, a few years ago, King said that Falco was the best character in the game. Although that's a little bit on the high end, people typically put Falco at number 2 or number 3, interchangeable with Marth. So given his place on the tier list, where is Falco? Why isn't he being represented more? And one of the big reasons why we don't see Falco at the very top is because half the top 25 players took a step back for other reasons. PPMD and Zoo don't play as much as they used to for different reasons. And when you have half your players not representing the character for one reason or another, that will drop down the representation significantly. Imagine if Axe decided to quit the game altogether, then we would not see Pikachu, period. Furthermore, we have players like West, Balls, and Mango, and they play other characters in other matchups like Fox or Captain Falcon instead of playing Falco. So in reality, we don't see too much Falco in total. For why that's the case and why we don't see too much Falco, I have to ask the question, what attracts people to Falco to begin with? And I imagine that a lot of people picked up Falco because of how cool the character is to play. They probably watched videos from Bomb Soldier, PC Chris, Mango, the ShizWiz, and Zoo, and they were really inspired by the technical play that Falco brings to the table. Being able to do multi-shines, double lasers, and pillar combos are all very exciting to do. And when I first started the game, I actually picked up Falco just to play him for fun, and it was greatly rewarding to do the short hop laser for the first time and do my first pillar combo on a Fox and Captain Falcon. I imagine a bunch of people who are picking up the game and practicing tech skill also find this very rewarding, and they want to mimic the high octane movement that they see in their Falco role models. And I imagine that when they nail their first shine back air, they nail their first combo, it feels amazing. They want to just keep playing. Now at low levels of play, this is very interesting because you can typically overwhelm most of your casual playing friends or the early rounds of bracket by just spamming tech skill. And this speed, because most players cannot deal with it, will reward you and make you feel very great about the character of Falco. And unfortunately with this case, it actually brings about bad habits and bad feedback loops because you're telling yourself that you're doing really well because of your tech skill, and you probably want to practice and play your tech skill even more rather than focus on other fundamentals of your gameplay. But unfortunately with Falco, better players know how to deal with Falco's pressure and his strengths. First off, his shine combos are very DIable. So what used to work on a casual friend doesn't work against better players that know how to escape Falco's combos. So when you get a shine on a better player, you're typically gonna get like 1 to 2 hits at most for 20 to 30 damage instead of the 70 to 80 damage that you would get on a worse player. Shield pressure is also very good against new players, but better players understand the tools needed to get out of these Falco strengths. For example, you can use the Fox Shine, near out a shield, you can buffer a roll. There are many options to deal with Falco's pressure that people have begun to realize and implement into their games. Even Falco's lasers that can pin down their opponents are somewhat counterable. People know how to outspace the laser and also how to power shield it and deal with the laser. Although laser and shine pressure are very effective tools, they're less effective against players that know what they're doing. And unfortunately, as you get better in skill, your raw speed won't work at higher levels. Instead of everything becoming guaranteed, everything becomes a mix-up, meaning that you're gonna have to outsmart and read your opponent to get that hit or earn that extra hit in your combo. It's not a freebie once you get to mid to high level play. Now don't get me wrong, Falco is an amazing character. He wins most matchups or at the very least goes even. So I don't want this to be a video to tell everybody that Falco is an awful character. In fact, I think Falco is an amazing character and it deserves every right to be number 2 or number 3 on the tier list. But even though Falco has decent matchups all across the board, he can be a very frustrating character to play. Imagine a Peach at 150% on Dreamland and trying to figure out how to kill this character. And we make fun of Marth for being unable to kill characters with the term Marthritis. Falco also suffers the same fate, where back airs and other tools don't really kill characters as well as Fox does. So typically what you would see in many matchups is if you can't directly combo into a dare or a certain hard hit, you're gonna have a really hard time killing characters, and typically what happens is you're gonna have to back air until 180% or even higher to get that kill on a floaty character. All in all, what this really means is that you could be playing well for 2 whole minutes in the neutral game, landing hit after hit, doing 5% here, doing 15% there, and then end up dying in 2 seconds due to just one tiny mistake. The joke with Falco is that any percentage is a death percent for Falco, meaning that you're always in danger, and no matter how well you're playing for minutes on end, your opponent could take the lead just as easily. Everybody knows how to combo Falco. He doesn't have that novelty of being a weird character. And what I mean is that if you play Pikachu, Yoshi, or Mario, a lot of players don't know really how to combo or deal with those characters as well as they do Falco, but because so many people have so much experience with Fox, they know how to combo and deal with Falco as well. And as you get better with Falco, you have to play more patient and grind it out, because one mistake, as I mentioned before, is lethal against most of the top tier. They can chain grab Falco, they can tech chase Falco, and they can edge guard Falco very easily. So I can foresee why a lot of Falco players are tempted to switch to Fox in many of the floatier matchups, because why have to deal with constantly outplaying the neutral, throwing out back airs, when you could just wave shine into up smash or find a bunch of kills a lot quicker. It's not to say that Falco's not a fun character. Falco is incredibly rewarding. As I mentioned before, if you can nail the mix-ups in different situations, you can make your opponent feel completely helpless. Look at when Mango or Westballs just run over their opponents by shield pressuring and then reading the immediate roll or near out of shield. When everything clicks, it really truly does feel like nobody can do anything to deal with Falco's pressure, but it requires a high sense of knowing what your opponent's gonna do and a high sense of conditioning and reads that are incredibly difficult to do consistently at top level. Thank you for listening to this episode of Melee Science. If you wanna follow more content, go to esports.yahoo.com or follow us on our Yahoo Esports channel. Thank you so much for supporting us.